This is part 3 of a review series covering the second hour of a 3 hours long movie. Go watch parts 1 and 2 for context if you have not already, otherwise we're moving on to the main video.
Wrong room, miss.
Secretary Swanwick, you haven't been returning my phone call.
Lois approaches Calvin Swanwick, played again by Harry Lennox, who after the events of Man of Steel has been promoted from Lieutenant General to the Secretary of Defense, about how he has not been returning her phone calls about the bullet she found from Nairobi. Despite their cooperation in defeating the Sword of Rao, aka General Zod's force in the previous movie, Swanwick treats her neutrally without any special privileges and tells her to schedule an interview with him like any other reporter. Lois then gets right into the point in confronting Swanwick about the United States providing experimental weapons to rebels in Africa and presents him with the bullet as her evidence. Swanwick, however, brushes her off and leaves her speechless by accusing her of trying to help Superman repair his reputation after having been the cause of it getting damaged. Considering how we now know that Swanwick is Martian Manhunter, he probably read her mind when stating that. At the Daily Planet, Perry confronts Clark for not having done any of his assigned stories while focusing on Batman instead. They argue about the rights and wrongs in journalism, which leads to Perry aggressively telling Clark that they do not live in a time where you can write about anything you like, because the prices for everything have gone up and Daily Planet needs to tell stories that sell to make profit.
But it's not 1938. Apples don't cost a nickel. Not in here, not out there. You drop this thing.
Perry then drops the mic by telling Clark to drop any story he wants to write about Batman, because their reader base does not want to read it. From my point of view, this aspect of Clark as a reporter is not handled as well as it could have been. Sure, we are shown that Clark does have the integrity of a reporter to write a story, but this part about him not taking the time to write anything, even small or quick articles about the assignments he was given to write, comes across mildly annoying. By having Clark put some or any input into writing about football or about the Friends of Metropolis Library would have given us something to show what kind of writer he is, and then based on his quality of writing, Perry could have been shown to be more open to the idea of letting Clark pursue his investigations on Batman. After a quick cameo from a talk show host, whose show was cancelled before this movie came out, we are somewhat properly introduced to Gal Gadot's character at some other museum gala, and I assume this man with her to be the curator based on the dialogue. The subtitles name the curator as James Harmon and Gal Gadot's character as Diane. Okay, the cat is out of the bag, walked on the table, and has grown old already. Gal Gadot's character is Wonder Woman, aka Diana of Themyscira, aka Diana Prince. We all knew about it because her casting was reported long before the movie even had a name. Imagine if we didn't know what her role was. Imagine if her role as Wonder Woman was kept as a secret, and she would have only been reported to have been cast into a mystery role. Imagine if Warner Bros. Had leaked false rumors about who she was playing. What if they had told us that she was playing Catwoman, or an accomplice of Anatoly, or literally anyone else but Wonder Woman? In fact, the casting of almost every Justice League character appearing in the movie would have been better if they had been left as a secret revealed in the movie itself. That way, everyone from hardcore fans to casual viewers would have only come to see this movie be about Superman facing off against Batman, and only after seeing it they would have had their minds blown by their appearances without expecting to see them in the first place. Except, of course, when you factor in that Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman movie was in the middle of filming before this movie even came out, so keeping Gal Gadot's casting as a secret until the premiere would have been next to impossible. But not for the other JL characters! The curator leaves Diana to admire the showcase holding the Sword of Alexander, during which Bruce sneaks up on her, and they are both revealed to know that the thing is a fake. Diana excuses herself to walk away, and Bruce excuses himself to walk with her, while talking about the drive she stole from him at Luthor's house. Diana then excuses her actions by calling the honor among thieves as bullshit, to which Bruce deflects by getting straight into the point in asking who she is, and Diana answers that she believes Luthor to be in the possession of something that belongs to her. The data copied onto Bruce's drive is however too encrypted for Diana to be able to read any of it. She then tries to walk away, with Bruce not letting her go just yet, commenting that he has had enough experience with women not to let them walk over him by just wearing a pretty dress. Diana smirks a smile at that last remark, and if we didn't know that her character is over 5,000 years old, this comment she makes about Bruce being a little boy would come across a little sexist. The next revelation about her having left the drive she borrowed it is then something that ends up somewhat unbelievable unbelievable when you start to breaking it apart. In the scene we have been watching so far, Bruce is the one who sneaked up on Diana, and they have talked for a few minutes. We are so expected to believe that prior to Bruce sneaking up on her, Diana saw Bruce coming to the museum, left the museum, found Bruce's car, broke into it without setting off the alarm, placed the drive into the glove box, left the car still without setting off the alarm, and came back to the party for Bruce to sneak up on her. How did Bruce not see her do those things if he had followed her to this museum gala and likely never took his eyes off her? Was this a Terrio or Goyer-written scene? Did anyone who read this scene think through the timeline for both characters in it? Bruce next returns to the Batcave and leaks the drive to the Batcomputer to start decrypting the data on it. Even on the Batcomputer, the decryption loading time is slow, and I assume we are expected to believe that Bruce dozes off during it. Before I start going over his nightmare, I want to comment that I once read a similar scene in a Batman comic where Batman needed to wait for the Batcomputer to do something similar. And you know what he did while he was waiting? Lifted weights to keep up his physique. I assume it's because of his vigilante activities and messed up sleeping schedule while Bruce dozes off while waiting. Or maybe he decided to take one of those micro naps he usually takes in the comics. So, the nightmare scene that comes next is something that comes completely out of the left field, and by now, a decade after the film's release, we cannot call it a dream sequence like with Bruce's previous actual dream depicting his family crypt in the part 2 video. To sum it up without leaving out anything important, it depicts a post-apocalyptic Earth with Batman leading a resistance of small pocket of human survivors. Some people that Batman had sent out to get something arrive to their very open base, and upon inspecting the delivered cargo, it's revealed out to be
A great big phony!
enemy soldiers infiltrated into the Resistance pull out their guns and, to Batman's horror, start killing the Resistance members. Batman responds by attacking the enemy soldiers to save at least some of his soldiers, and in his desperation is also shown using firearms in the kill or be killed situation. And one positive I want to say about this scene of Batman fighting the enemy soldiers is that it is filmed completely in one take. It is feats like this why Zack Snyder can be seen as a talented director. Ultimately, Batman is overpowered and is knocked out. And it would have been better if the nightmare ended here without showing the evil anti-life equation corrupted Superman coming down to kill Batman's remaining soldiers and then unmask Batman before killing him as well. But it was shown in the trailers, so it had to be shown in the movie, even when the final versions of other movies have cut out scenes from the trailers before. Actually, I think the theatrical version could have cut this scene out and leave it into the Ultimate Edition instead. Bruce is then woken up from his nightmare to see the Flash trying to reach out to him from the Speed Force. The emitting lightings and the red suit are a dead giveaway. The Scarlet Speedster delivers a rushed message as the Speed Force seems to be pulling him back from the wormhole he's reaching out, about Lois Lane being the key, about Bruce being right about someone, and begging for Bruce to find the others like the Flash. And see here, if the evil anti-life equation corrupted Superman wasn't shown in the nightmare scene, whom the Flash tried to warn Bruce about, would have been better off left ambiguous instead of automatically making Superman definitely look evil in a possible future. And then Bruce is shown waking up again, likely meaning that his brain shut itself off in trying to process what he was witnessing.
The lesion did this to him.
No, his brain did this to him. This is a London town crier in 1605. His brain has no point of reference for something like this. He's never seen a temporal portal before, so when his brain can't cope, it closes down.
As we see papers floating next to Bruce, it's clear that the Flash's visit did indeed happen and was not a dream. Also, the decryption has completed while Bruce was taking his micro nap. Next, if the movie is still going in chronological order and real time, as I assumed back in part 2, then Clark is either pulling a night shift to get his assigned football and library articles written, or the Batcomputer took all night to decrypt the copied data while Bruce slept in an unergonomic position in the Batcave. In one of these scenes that the movie is presenting to happen at the same time, Clark is delivered a newspaper clipping of Cesar the human trafficker Santos' arrest and the Bat branding along with candid photographs from his autopsy report. Commit them to your memory because we are going to see them again. On Bruce's end, he opens the decrypted data files and does a Ctrl-F-like file search on the white Portuguese, learning it to be a cargo ship scheduled to arrive in Gotham's port. By the way, back in 2016 when this movie came out, I remember one really bad take someone tried to make in trying to make this movie look bad by calling this file search the same thing as a Google search. File search, to those of you who don't know, is when you open your computer files and write here the name of the file or folder that you need to find. It's what you do when you try to find something on your own computer or on a USB drive connected to your computer, not in the public domain of Google. I don't remember who that person with the bad take was anymore, so let Han enjoy this anonymity rather than being called out for this case of technical illiteracy. Bruce shares his findings with Alfred as he is working on the maintenance of the Batmobile, but the faithful servant can see through his master's lies and asks what the white Portuguese is delivering instead of a dirty bomb. Bruce is unable to lie to Alfred and reveals that the cargo ship is delivering the large chunk of kryptonite that we saw being dug out from the Indian Ocean after a time skip at the beginning of the movie, about its capabilities of weakening Kryptonian cells, and about his plans to steal it before it gets delivered to Lex Luthor. Alfred rightfully assumes that Bruce is going to take the kryptonite in order to destroy it and keep it out of Luthor's hands. But Bruce denies this, to which Alfred responds by questioning his master's sanity in planning,
You're gonna go to war.
Bruce then fires back that they are already at war that he wants to finish, and Ben Affleck's performance in this scene really shows how paranoid he is about Superman.
That son of a bitch brought the war to us 2 years ago.
We can also hear his voice distort as he speaks, as if to show the bat taking over the man's psyche, similar to how I pointed it out in my The Dark Knight Returns videos. Alfred tries to calm Bruce down, in pointing out that Superman has not done anything so far that would paint him as their enemy, and Bruce just calls it off as
Not today.
before making what I and a lot of others can assume to be an obscure reference to Two-Face, or a foreshadowing to his own character arc in this movie.
20 years in Gotham, Alfred. We've seen what promises are worth. How many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
Also, it needs to be pointed out that at this point of the movie, Bruce can be seen as wanting to get the kryptonite as a countermeasure, just like how the mainstream comic book version of Batman has all sorts of countermeasures for every superhero he has ever worked with, for the what-if scenarios where he could end up needing them. I'm jumping a little bit further, but when his first attempt to get the kryptonite has failed, he just moves his next attempt to a later date, showing that he is not yet in a hurry to claim it for himself. Clark, after having been sent a message to look into Cesar Santos' death, has arrived to a Gotham police precinct to get more information on Santos, but almost none of the officers are very helpful. One officer discreetly points Clark in the direction of a woman with a crying child being given someone's last possessions, and deduces them to be Cesar Santos' widow and child. Clark catches up with Santos' widow and asks about her husband. She says that they were not married, but that Cesar was the father of her child, and likely used the money he made in human trafficking to support them. Despite all that, Cesar is now dead because Batman caught and branded him with his bat symbol, which is a death mark for Anatoly's men as we know, but Clark doesn't, and the prison guards don't care about the Russians' involvement. Santos' widow sees Batman's actions as one man's judgment, and even if she told enough for Clark to write about it, she doesn't believe it would stop Batman any better than using force would.
A man like that, words don't stop him. You know what stops him? A fist.
Those are the final words that Clark is left to ponder as she leaves with her child and come on! Perry yelling at Clark's absence in the office. You mean to tell me that Clark didn't work on those other assignments during his night shift? How does he still have a job if he is not even doing any work at the planet? Night falls to Gotham Port side as White Portuguese has docked itself there, and has her cargo unloaded as Batman observes/stalks Anatoly's men loading the cargo into a truck. This scene also serves as a homage to the first issue of The Dark Knight Returns, as Batman is shown using a sniper rifle to shoot a tracking device into the truck's shell, similar to how in the comic the 55-year-old Batman was shown using a grappling gun that was modded as a sniper rifle to cover more distance. Anatoly's men form a convoy in transporting their cargo, but then suddenly their way is blocked by this other truck. The sitting ducks are then given a chase in the introduction of the new Batmobile,